Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's talk about the band Meshuggah. Meshuggah is a band founded in 1987. They're known for complex rhythmic layers, heavily distorted guitar tones, and in 2005 they released an album called Catch 33. My work examines the structures and interconnectedness of the album Catch 33. Songs in this album are highly organized and contain relationships to one another. This creates the effect of the album being one long cohesive work, much like a symphony. Catch 33 is a concept album. This isn't a new idea, but unlike Pink Floyd Animals or Beatles Sgt. Pepper's, it's not just that it's unified around an idea, but there are other things that are interconnected between the entire album. This album has 13 tracks, and I believe this is divided into 3 main sections. So what are the things that unify this work? Texture is one significant thing. Meshuggah is known for having a consistent texture across all their albums, this heavily distorted, low-pitched guitar sound. They're often credited as being the originators of the djent genre, and they usually use 7 or 8 string guitars to get these really low pitches. There's sometimes also a clean guitar sound. This is usually in the higher register. The vocals are mostly screamed, although this album also has whispered sections and a section featuring vocoder to modulate the voice. The drums play a consistent 4/4 pattern, especially in the cymbals and snare, while the kick drum accentuates the polyrhythms that are going on in the guitar parts. The lyrics of this album discuss the paradoxes of life and death, complexity that is the mind, and is structured in kind of a very abstract way. There are only 2 tempi in this entire album. The first third is at 120 beats per minute, and the remainder at 126 beats per minute. The form of this album is very interesting because while many of their other albums are a compilation of songs with different tempi, different styles, different rhythmical grooves, this one has a lot more consistency in the form. Prior to this album, Catch 33 was the album I, and this is one long song in much the way Catch 33 is. However, it's much more random in nature. On the left is a transcription of the intro to this album that Thomas Haskey, the drummer, posted to Instagram, and on the right, a transcription in Western notation. And you can see this is a very complicated section that doesn't have any discernible patterns or repeats. And perhaps for this reason, I has never been performed live, but Catch 33, individual songs from it are consistently performed live. In these 13 tracks, each song is mostly in 16 measure phrases, though sometimes there's some 8s, some 4s, some 2s. And Nick Terry, in an article for Decibel magazine, describes this album as a 4-movement symphony with an interlude, so in 5 major sections. And this is a very good starting point, grouping these tracks together. But I disagree. I think there are 3 main sections, each of them concluding with quiet, reflective music. The album is about 45 minutes in length, so each of these sections ends up being about 10 or 15 minutes long. And within each of these sections, there will be 2 main musical ideas that are modulated and transformed. Section 1 containing the first 7 tracks. That might seem like a lot of tracks, but many of these tracks are shorter. In animation is only 2 16-bar phrases long. Section 2 would be the tracks In Death is Life and In Death is Death, again concluding with quiet, reflective music. And then section 3 containing the last 4 tracks. One of the main unifiers of this album is the rhythmic content. Each of the sections makes use of 2 different rhythmical riff ideas that are manipulated and developed. The first 3 tracks all use the riff that's printed below, and the pattern for this riff is a group of 3 16th notes, 3 16th notes low, 2 16th notes, 2 individuals, 3 high again, 1 low, 2 individuals low, and then that pattern repeats. So we can listen to these riffs played all at the same time, and that'll show that all of the rhythms are the exact same, though sometimes there's some differences in pitch. Here's riff 1 on its own. After two 16-bar phrases of this, they add an E. They then start with the second half of the riff. Once he starts in the middle of the first half of the riff, one D starts in the first riff, but later. And then 1E only uses the first section, half of this riff. In Death is Death has a very consistent rhythmic pattern through it, although the pitch patterns change. I included on the screen here from a MA thesis, Rethinking Metal Aesthetics. He does an excellent job showing how the playing of this on the guitar with the fret pattern is what modulates the pitch content, and it's really three patterns. Pattern 4 is just pattern 3 inverted, pattern 5 is 2 inverted, so there's a bit of a palindrome going on. They have pattern 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then at the end of it, they do a little bit of a twist, 1, 4, 6. So that's all the patterns played at the same time, so you can hear all the rhythms match up, and here's all the patterns strung out with the drums playing in 4. The pitch content is one of the most significant unifiers of this album. The guitar strings tuning contributes to this, it kind of creates a tonal center around F. Chromaticism features heavily in these ideas. A unifying motif occurs in 7 of the 13 songs, with a tremolo guitar in the higher register. And in the 6 songs that do not have complete statements of this unifying motif, there's partial quotation or transformations. So here is our unifying motif. A descending whole step and then an ascending half step. Here's that in context with the band. One of the first early transformations is to exclude the F sharp and just use the ascending half step E to F. Sometimes this set of pitches is presented in kind of a noodly fashion. Later on, the new pitches like G and B flat are introduced setting out a minor third, and then B natural is later added, expanding this out to a major third. Minds Mirrors presents a couple of transformations also, making use of whole steps and half steps. A, B, B flat, B, F sharp, G, F sharp, F natural, and the album concludes with C, C sharp, D, C. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. I'll conclude with one of my favorite riffs from the album.